Hi everyone. Today I want to explain in more detail when you have this awareness that this physical human self is a very small part of who you are and that there's this bigger part of you that is orchestrating everything for you. I want to explain what is your job to do at the human level and what you need to leave to the higher self and not interfere with. So the way I'm going to explain this is to think of each potential reality that is available to you as if it's a different game that you can play. So for us to be able to picture this, imagine yourself with all these different options of games that you can play. You could choose to play chess, drafts, backgammon, Monopoly, rummy. You could choose a sport like tennis or football or basketball or volleyball or netball. You could even choose a non-competitive game like coloring in a coloring book or karaoke, whatever it is. So you have all these different options that you can choose from, right? And that's the equivalent of all the different realities that are available to you. Now, you need to understand that you are the one in charge of choosing which game you want to play. There's absolutely nothing imposing on you that you must play tennis and not chess. It's all completely your decision. You're completely free to choose which game to play. But here's the thing. You choose by taking the first step in the game that you've chosen. You have all the options available to you. You have every single game imaginable laid out in front of you and available for you to play. Whichever game you want to play, you can just turn around and face that particular game and start playing it. But it's your job to choose and make that first step. The higher self isn't going to do that for you. You need to make that decision. So if you're choosing to play chess, for example, then you need to pick up one of your chess pieces and make your first move. If you're choosing to play tennis, you need to pick up your racket and ball and swing the racket and hit the ball over the net. But here's the thing. When it comes to the way this works with the various realities that are available to you, you can always only see the reality that you're in right now. So if you chose to play chess before, and now you've had enough of it and you want to play tennis instead, you have to choose to play tennis and go and pick up a tennis racket and hit the ball, even while all you can see in front of you is a chessboard and chess pieces. Now, in terms of analogy, I'm going to stretch it a little bit, but it's a bit like you can see a tennis racket and ball lying to the side of you, but there's no tennis court. There's nowhere to swing a ball. There's no net to hit it over. All you can see is a chessboard. Now, to shift into the reality where you get to play tennis rather than chess, you need to swing that racket and hit the ball over an imaginary net that you can't see. And that will cause the reality to switch. And the chessboard will disappear and be replaced with a tennis court. That is how physical reality works. So your job is to choose which game you want to play and to make that first move. And then the source immediately sees your choice and your intention behind making that move, and it creates the corresponding reality accordingly. You don't need to go and create a tennis court first. You don't need to figure out how on earth to change a chessboard into a tennis court. You don't have to go and argue with everyone about changing the rules from the ones that you follow in chess to the ones that you follow in tennis. You just decide to move into the game that you want to play. You act from that decision, and that will cause you to be moved into a completely different game. Now, to be clear, the action you take in itself is completely irrelevant. So don't ever be afraid of getting the action wrong. It's the intention behind it that matters. To continue with the game analogy, if you chose to play tennis and you pick up the racket and you think that the first move you're supposed to make is to hit the ball over the net, and so you do that, then that will cause that tennis court to be created. If, on the other hand, you think that the first move is to stand in position with your racket because your opponent is going to be the first one to hit the ball, then that will also cause the tennis court to be created. The source will see your intention and your reason for taking this action, and it will create the corresponding reality accordingly, regardless of what the action actually is. But if you stand there wondering whether you should hit the ball first or get into the position to receive the ball, and you don't do either, and you just stand there waiting for the tennis court to appear so that you can see which one of the two moves you're supposed to make, that tennis court will never appear. All you'll keep seeing is that chessboard, and you'll keep standing there waiting for this tennis court that will never show up until you make that decision that you are now playing tennis. So you need to choose, and you need to live and act from that decision in order for that corresponding reality to be created for you. So your job isn't to do something to make reality change. You simply don't have the power to do that at this human level. Your job is to choose, and then to act from the knowing that you are now in the reality that you have chosen. And that is what causes that reality to be created for you. But you have to do that even while what you're seeing around you still all looks like the old reality. You can't wait for the facts around you to confirm to you that you're now in the new reality, because it just doesn't work like that. You need to be the one driving it. If you're not liking what you're seeing, if you're thinking, this isn't the reality that I want to be in, then you need to ask yourself, okay, what reality do I want to be in? And if I was in that reality, what move would I make next? And go and make that move. And by doing that, you genuinely will cause reality to shift and align with the reality that you're assuming that you're in. So your job at the human level is to choose your preferred reality, and then to live and act from the knowing that you are now in the reality that you have chosen, even before you can see any shifts or changes happening around you. So what does this mean in practice? It means that if you want to move into a reality where you get to have a very successful business, for example, then maybe you take a course in how to have a successful business if you think that that is the first step that one would take when playing the game of having a successful business. If, for example, you want to move into a reality where you get to have a wonderful partner and raise a family with them, then perhaps your first move would be to sign up for a dating site if you think that this is the first step that one would take when playing the game of getting to be in a lovely relationship and raising a family together. Again, it's not the action itself that matters. If the thought of signing up for a dating site fills you with dread, for example, then clearly this isn't the first step in the game that you do want to be playing. So for you, if you want to play the game of being in a relationship, but you don't want a game that includes getting involved in dating sites, then maybe the first step for you is to go on a singles holiday or something like that. Maybe it's just to join a club that has nothing to do with singles or dating. Either way, if you are taking that action with the knowing that this is you playing the game of getting to have this wonderful relationship, then that's what will play out. Whatever your intention and your reasoning behind why you're taking that step, the source will cause that reality to play out as fact. So you see, it's all about what reality you're choosing internally. It's never about what you're seeing on the outside, because that's all just a projection that is shifting and changing depending on what you're choosing on the inside. And it can be a little bit scary in terms of taking the action, because you're effectively trusting what you're choosing on the inside over and above what your physical senses are telling you. But when you do let yourself do this, you'll see for yourself how powerful it is. You'll see that it really is you that is causing external things to be the way they are. If you dare to assume that you're on a path where success is inevitable, that you get to live a life where you have everything you want, and you just let yourself live every day from that knowing, the way things will start to fall into place for you, it will just blow your mind. But you do need to jump into the driving seat. This just doesn't work if you keep checking the outside for confirmation. Your internal vision and your trust in the source that is creating everything needs to be much stronger than your trust in the physical facts. That's the only way to get this to work. If you try to do it the other way around, and you think that it's a case of doing some technique for a number of days and then checking to see if reality has changed, then you're missing the point of how this works. And you'll be one of those many people saying, this is all rubbish, it doesn't work, or I must be doing it wrong. You need to get to the point where you're trusting what you're choosing internally over and above what you're seeing on the outside. And it's okay if you're not there yet. Treat this in itself like a game. Decide to get better at it. Decide to build up that muscle. That in itself is part of the fun. It's not like you need to get to the end of the journey and be an absolute master at this before it starts to get fun. Even the early stages can be fun, where you catch yourself falling for the illusion that you're stuck in that old unwanted reality, and then remembering that you have a choice to move into the reality that you prefer. That in itself feels amazing every time you do it. So it's just a case of making a decision to do this and to operate in this way and to build up that muscle more and more. And the more you do it, the more wonderful life gets. And the more you start creating a life for yourself where the results that you get are just phenomenal and way more perfect than anything you ever imagined was possible. So if you take just one thing from this video, let it be this. You are the chooser. That's your true power. Not the power to force reality to change, not the power to manipulate the facts, but the power to select through your awareness, through your decisions and your willingness to act from the truth of what you've chosen, even before you can see any evidence of it being reflected on the outside. Your higher self, the part of you that is orchestrating everything, doesn't need micromanaging. It already knows how to bring everything together in the most beautiful and effortless way. But it's waiting on you to make the call, to declare the game you're playing, to step into it, to decide that there will be no more wavering, no more holding back, and to give yourself permission to do this, because you know that you're the one in charge and you're the one who gets to choose, always. And yes, it takes practice, it takes trust. But this path you're on isn't about getting it perfect. It's about becoming more and more conscious, more and more aware that you're never stuck, never powerless, and never alone. Every moment is an opportunity to remember who you are and to notice if you find yourself in an unwanted reality and to go, oops, unwanted state. What do I want instead? And to just allow yourself to move to what you do want as soon as you notice it. So start choosing on purpose. Start acting like the version of you who's already playing the game you want to be playing. And don't worry about getting it right. Just keep stepping forwards. The more you do, the more your life will reshape itself to reflect who you truly are. And you'll begin to experience the kind of magic that can only come when you're aligned with the infinite intelligence that's been guiding you all along. Okay, that is it from me for today. Thank you for watching. If this resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe. And remember, you're not here to wait for reality to change. You're here to choose. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.